Alright, hello everybody. My name is Isaac Mendez, and today I will be presenting to you my Healthy People 2020 topic on tobacco. So tobacco is gonna sort of encompass a lot of different sort of topics. Mainly, you have your typical, cigarettes, cigars, cigarillos, and now sort of it's also starting to include sort of something relatively new, which is e-cigarettes and vape usage, which I will talk about more in a little bit. So currently, tobacco use impacts millions of people, millions of Americans to be specific, all over the nation, and is as a result is being targeted as one of the healthy goals for Health People 2020. Billions of dollars are actually sunk into the treatment of the people afflicted by smoking related illnesses, and these illnesses can include a lot of different things such as cancer. You have your lung, heart, and lung, heart, mouth, skin cancer, and things like that. You can get heart disease from smoking, or nicotine. Lung disease is one of the big ones, and that includes things such as asthma or COPD, pneumonia, tuberculosis, sort of illnesses such as that. A lot of birth defects are included as part of the risk for people smoking, and there's a lot of other risks that are associated with tobacco use, and that's actually part of the reason why tobacco use is currently the leading cause of preventable illness and death in the United States. Currently, I believe the stats is that there's over 480,000 deaths per year in the United States, and this includes 41,000 deaths that result from secondhand smoke exposure. So these 41,000 people could be people that have never touched a cigarette in their life, people that have never even considered smoking or don't want to, be associated with people that smoke, but still die because either, a family member or a friend that they spend a lot of time with smokes, either in their presence or, nearby. Or it could even be something like, in a multi-unit housing, such as in an apartment building or something, and people are smoking there. That smoke is going to travel through the vents and affect people. So what this means is that 1 in every 5 deaths that people die annually, or about 1,300 deaths, is attributed to smoking or tobacco usage in some way. So, Healthy People 2020 has sort of seen a new issue, some new emerging issues in recent years. Specifically, this is with e-cigarette usage among youth smokers. So Juul and other vape companies have actually begun marketing their products towards a younger audience, and they're doing this by by releasing a lot of flavors that are targeted more towards kids. Because like with these e-cigarettes or vapes, they're gonna have the flavors such as like cherry or bubblegum, as well as more like kid-targeted flavors. Like they have popular cereals like Frosted Flakes, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and they even have things for like certain like demographics. Like I've seen horchata or Jamaica and things like that. These e-cigarettes also contain a much higher concentration of nicotine, which goes down a lot more smoothly than traditional cigarettes, because the flavors combined with the sort of like the aerosol that's being released makes it easier to go down. And because there's so much more, the nicotine is more concentrated, with over twice the amount of nicotine in one cartridge of like Juul than a single pack of cigarettes. People will build a tolerance to the nicotine more quickly and much more easily, and then as a result, they get addicted much more quickly. And then because one puff or one cartridge isn't doing it, then they have to do two and then three, and then this problem just compounds over and over. And as of January of this year, actually, there's been over 2,000 hospitalizations that have been attributed to vape usage, with with a little over 55 deaths being caused as some sort of complication from vape usage. So currently, Health People 2020 has certain objectives that they are trying to complete. There's right now over 21 different objectives that are in 3 different categories relating to just tobacco use in general. They also have to like the health system, such as like how hospitals or health providers are interacting with the public, and how they relate to tobacco, as well as social, the social aspect of things, and social and like sort of more like political, and in terms of like U.S. territories, or even like reservations where they don't have to follow our law specifically. And part of what Healthy 2020 is trying to do is trying to push these places that don't necessarily follow the same restrictions that the federal government already has in place, to try and reduce the rates overall. The top 3 that are listed on the Health People 2020 site is the objective one, and with TU standing for tobacco use, TU1 standing to reduce tobacco use by adults. So in this, it's included, reducing cigarette smoking by adults. And this is just regular cigarettes. Trying to get people to either quit or at least start smoking less. You also have the people trying to reduce smokeless tobacco products by adults, as well as cigars, cigarillos, and filtered cigars by adults. And all three of these things are is one of the primary concerns, because adults are still the main consumers of traditional tobacco products. Goals 2 and 3 are targeted towards adolescents, and these are to, one, reduce the use of tobacco products by adolescents, or rather, objective 2 is to reduce the use of tobacco products by adolescents, and this is done by reducing the use of cigarettes and smokeless tobacco primarily among adolescents. And tobacco use objective number 3 is also to reduce the initiation of tobacco use among children. So currently, as I stated before, tobacco companies are starting to market towards kids. In many stores, you'll actually see that the way that the items are placed is more towards eye level of people that are younger, and a lot of stores don't follow the restrictions that the federal government has placed. And I actually know this personally, because I worked with the American Lung Association and took part in a decoy operation to go into various sort of liquor stores and try and buy tobacco products without an ID. And out of the 20 stores I visited, over 7 of them actually sold to me without any question. And this is dangerous, because that means that any other people, from high school or sometimes even middle schoolers, could walk into these stores and pick up these products and begin the next generation of smokers. And this is primarily what Healthy People 2020 is trying to prevent, and this is done by trying to reduce people from actually using it in the first place, from the ages of 12 to 17, 12 to 17 in the areas of just traditional tobacco cigarettes, as well as smokeless tobacco products such as vapes and e-cigarettes. So one of the things that the Health People 2020 has recognized as being somewhat, productive towards reducing tobacco usage is what a research study done in Australia, a law that passed in Australia has done. And so basically, there had the most popular brands of tobacco products out in cigarettes, such as Marlboro or Camel or even Winfield, as you see there, have actually been forced to change their packaging. And what now happens is that the only words that they themselves can put on these packaging is just their name, what the cigarette count is, and that's it. They can't put any pictures. They can't market it or design their thing to be more appealing or anything that stands out. And actually, the only other thing you can put on there is sort of government warnings, and some of them show sort of the examples of what can happen to a person after they've been exposed to cigarettes or cigars or just tobacco in general for multiple years. Like, for example, the one here just has quitting will improve your health, and it has a big warning on the side in bright yellow letters. There's another one that shows a person's teeth and how they're the gums look like black due to the tar buildup that's been they've been exposed to. You also have effects of they show the boxes show oral cancer, or even how this product can affect your lungs, just to try and deter people from smoking. So overall, Health People 2020 has shown that changing or redesigning tobacco packaging could actually help reduce tobacco use traditional. So, in conclusion, we've stated that tobacco is right now the #1 preventable cause of death in the United States. They've identified that e-cigarette usage among youth smokers has become a bigger and bigger problem due to increased nicotine levels, as the increased concentration of nicotine levels making addiction much more easy, as well as the flavors enticing youth smokers to either take up smoking for the first time or to continue smoking. as a result of just incentivized through flavors and also like the sensation of nicotine within them. There's a big emphasis this time around for Healthy People 2020 on cessation and prevention of smoking in whatever form we can take for both adults as well as youth and adolescents. And finally, tobacco packaging redesign has the potential to actually lower smoking rates according to Healthy People 2020. And this is just one of the many ways that we can sort of start combating tobacco usage.